Hello friends, and once again welcome to BISPsolution.com. My name is Amit, and today we are going to do Groovy script scenario number 21. In today's example, it's a fairly interesting example. I'm going to update attribute properties dimension member attribute on the fly dynamically using a smart view, using a smart list. So before we proceed further and talk about the coding part of it, let me explain you my requirement statement. So this is kind of sample application I used. So in one of my client requirement was that there was a product dimension which was quite huge and it has got so many members. So when we are getting a list of all the products, many of them are retired or inactive. They are no more in operation. And therefore, we would like to exclude them from planning a budgeting process. But we wanted this value tagging the attribute dimension property on the fly dynamically. Therefore, I prepare a smart list and then I have a list of products and I create a data form with a list of products and I attach a smart list. So when I look at the product, I have a choice to tag any product active and inactive on the fly. So when I tag any product active and inactive on the fly and hit the save button, behind the screen, system runs a business rule and tag attribute for the underlying product as active and inactive. See this how it is happening. So I hit the save button and the rule is likely to be run behind the screen. The rule ran successfully. Let me take a screenshot of it and we compare with the final output. So this is what I tagged. Okay, this is a property I set for the underlying product. Now let me go to the attribute dimension and see whether the property got set or not. So let's go ahead and check. So I'm going to check with my dimension. This is product dimension. And the property is called active and active. So let me take some product, one product for the sake of testing. So I'll take maybe Anvo standard notebook. Okay, Anvo standard notebook. This is the standard notebook. Let me go to the property and check. Attribute dimension. See the property tagged as inactive, isn't it? I make it inactive, right? So in the same way, you can modify the data form through data form, product status, and your product active status can be changed on the fly. This is basically property. Once again, I'm going to change this inactive to active. Previously it was inactive. Now I make it active and save it. Again, the property change on the fly. So you can test it in the same way. Now I'm going to show it to you how it actually works. Let's double check this. So once again, I go to my product dimension. I have a product called computer equipments. Under computer equipments, I can check my standard and with standard product. Now it is changed as active from inactive, right? So how did I do that? This is a fairly interesting example. So what did I do first? First, I created a smart list. So I created a smart list named as product status, which has two values, active and inactive. So SL product status, the name of my smart list. Okay, let me put it over here in Notepad. Product active status. And it has two values called active and inactive. Okay. So this is smart list. Let me smart list. Then I created an attribute dimension for product. So I go to dimension product and it has an attribute associated with this. You can check the attribute called product status. Product status with two possible values, active and inactive. So I kept the same value for smart list and attribute dimension member. Although it is not mandatory, but it is good and easy to understand. And then I added one assumption under my account dimension. One assumption I should have added under the assumption for product status. Okay, and this product status dimension member data type is smart list, and the smart list, the one I created, I associate with this smart list. Do you see that? Data type is smart list and I associate the smart list, the one I created. So this is member name. So idea over here, I traverse through entire data form and change the attribute value for the underlying product, okay, as active and inactive. Let's get started. So go to rules and I'm going to create rule. Let me name this rule as change attribute. Right click under rule and name it as change attribute. Right. Since it is a Groovy and therefore I change the type of this, I'll toggle from designer view to edit script view, from calculation script to Groovy script. Alright, let's get started. So as always I do, I create an object for uh, first I create cube object so that I could read the dimension and the member. Cube object name I gave you cube operation dot application dot get cube. I've got 3 cube, so I'm going to use plan 1. Right, you can read the cube information from application overview. Application overview, there you can check number of cubes are available in your application. So I've got 3 cube. I'm going to use for plan 1. Okay. Alright, so I create a cube object. Then I need to read the dimension. So I'm going to create object of dimension type. Give some name. I'm going to name a name called dim name. And I'm going to read this dimension. So operation dot application dot get dimension. And as an argument to define the name of the dimension, I'm going to read product dimension property attribute, and the second object is your cube object reference, second argument, which is cube. Now I'll traverse through entire data form, row by row, and figure out for which product the status has been changed. In order to perform traversing, you write operation dot grid dot data cell iterator. So we did it multiple times in the past as well, and I like to track which data has been modified, which cell has been modified. So I create data cell object called, give some name cell with a pointing reference to cell dot edited. So it will return true and false, and accordingly whichever value is written as true, the calculation will take place for the underlying cell. And naturally I like to traverse row by row, so I use a each object. Now the next step, I'll read the member name for which the value to be modified. So create a member object, give some name mbr member name equals to operation dot application dot get dimension. The dimension, in my case the dimension is product, and I'm going to read product dimension member. So intern I define object get member. So which member you like to read? The member which is being processed. So the member which is being processed, you recognize by get it, which is global object dot member name, under which I'm going to pass the name of the dimension member. So the member name can be identified by get member name, right? The member which is being processed from product dimension, right? Product dot, see, this will return object type. I need to convert this to string type. So I'll convert to a string type. If you don't convert to string type, it return an object type. So I return to object type. I got a member name. This member I would be member name object. This member I would be using to figure out which product has been modified. Which product has been modified? Let's use the if expression. So if my the member which is being processed get member name which is being processed of account dimension, right? The member which is being processed account dimension called product status. That's the member I use for account dimension. See that there you can figure it out. Dimension product status. Okay. Therefore, I use get.member name product. Name of the member is product status. Put in double quotes. Product status. Okay, if the member being processed the product status, then what action you like to perform? Well, I like to set the value of the member product dimension member attribute called status should be same as the value of smart list. Product dimension member value attribute dimension member value should be same as smart list value. This is what I want. So in order to do this, I need to read the current smart list value. In order to get the smart list value, let's give some. You use an object, declare an object or a variable called definition with prod status. Okay, this is my smart list. Here I'm going to read a smart list. Operation dot application dot get smart list. So which member you like to read from the smart list? They're going to pass an argument. Give a name of the smart list. In my case, and smart list name is SL. I've written over here, right? SL product status. This is my smart list name. Which member you like to read? So obviously I need to in turn pass an argument name of the member. So get entry which member? The member which is being processed right now. So I pass in the member which is being processed. id.data. It will return integer value, right? Int value. Well, I got a smart list value now. The next step, I'll use the smart list value to pass my attribute dimension member. However, I need to read the value from my dimension member product dimension member attribute. So I'm going to create one more variable called str. Give some name. It's a string type, so I give str. Product status. I write in brief product status equals to product status load, because we are going to load it on the fly. So which will in turn pass the smart list value object product status dot I need to convert it to a string. Okay, so there are multiple ways you can do it. One way you can use is apply a substring function and return 0 object number. Okay, so 1 2 3, it's like an array. Here I am passing the 0 object member. So it will convert into a string type. This value is string type. I am going to pass and change my attribute dimension member. How do you do that? Member name, give some variable member name dot to change attribute dimension member. Give the name of the dimension name object, which one I created over here, dot save member. Save member. And what member you like to save? I like to save attribute dimension member. To know attribute dimension member, member name. Basically, it use only map object. So therefore, I need to pass this as a map object. A double angular braces is going to return the reference. So give a name of your attribute dimension, which is product status. Attribute dimension product status. And what is the value? Colon value. So value is same the one I passed over here. This is how I am going to dynamically change my attribute dimension product status. It is required to be converted to a string. So curly braces, sorry, I suppose to use a square braces. That is how it is going to read. Square bracket to string, convert to string, dot to string, typecasting, close, square braces, and make sure parentheses are balanced. Okay, so this one, right, as map. I'll close parentheses here because my object reference ended it up over here. I place two curly braces. That's it. Now, before you proceed further, I like to validate this, this code, uh, validate this code, and then deploy. So let's validate, save and validate, save and validate. Validation is passed, deploy, and then I would like to run this rule on the fly, right? So therefore, I'm going to associate this rule with data form. Okay, right? I'm not running on dynamically. I like to run this on the fly. So in order to do this, the sample test data form I prepared before I apply to my real production environment, I created test data form. So let me show you test data form, and I'm going to associate this rule with my test data form. The forecast name itself I've given test. Test set. Somewhere here only I prepared. Alright, the name is actually product status. Product status is the name of my data form. Edit this. Go to business rule and associate the business rule, the one we prepared just now. It should be in the list. Okay, right. Rule change attribute. And when do you want it to run? On the fly. The moment I hit the save button, the rule is supposed to run. That's it. Finish. And now I'm going to open this rule and test it. Product status. Right. So change value. I'm going to make it active. Other computers make it active. Let's take a screenshot. So before we run further, I like to compare this with the previous value. So I take a screenshot of it. Just hit the save button and see what happens. So when you hit the save button, system is going to invoke the rule on the fly. The rule is going on, it will take few seconds and rule runs successfully, right? Now we check the final outcome. So final outcome is that other computers, the property should have changed. Attribute property should have changed. Go to product, other computers. For the sake of testing, I'm using other computers. This one. Go to attribute and see the attribute value. It is active. So now you compare what exactly we did. Set the value for other computers active on the fly, right? And it changed to active. Probably like to have one more attempt. Let me make it inactive and see it, test it once again. Let me do it again to make sure it is working exactly the way we wanted. So from active, I'm in turn changing this to inactive, right? Save it. Once again, we test the output. Go to dimension, product, go to other computers and attribute. It's inactive. right? It is changed to inactive. Take a screenshot again and compare. So previously it was active, now it is inactive. So this is how dynamically you can change attribute dimension member. So that's it for today. I have a lot of more examples are available. The code is available to the YouTube link. Should you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to bispsolutions.com. Thank you.